Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 997. I have to yell because I am Steven in Edmonton with a bad cough.
Warren in Vancouver. Oh, my God. Warren in Edmonton.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Oh, we're rolling here, kids.
it's going great.
It's just one of those mornings, isn't it?
It is one of those mornings. The vocal impediment that I had last week continues this week. Hopefully this is the end of it, but guess what? Most of the chatting will be done by Warren and Chris on this one. So later on, commentary, Moonbase Part 3. I'm fine in that, not in this. So let's...
Thanks for that being recorded months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well
Before the
done,
swarm
us.
gotcha.
Exactly. So anyway... On to the news, including the big Gallifrey One live show announcement. One of you take that, please.
I will do it. Yes. Okay. Radio Free Skaro, Mystery Science Theater 1000, with Julie Gardner and Steven Moffat is coming February 14th at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. PST in the Grand Ballroom of Gallifrey One in Los Angeles. We will be interviewing Steven Moffat and Julie Gardner for an hour at 1 p.m., which is pretty cool because A, it gives us a lot more time to get ready, and B, it's Steven Moffat and Julie Gardner, which rules. And as I've said privately with you guys, now that's 2 showrunners. We got one more to go.
That's true.
Yeah, in that regard, sure.
That's true. We're collecting them, so yeah.
So we had to sit on this for a little while, and we are very happy to tell you that this is the case. I mean, we did via the socials.
We're happy. We are so happy we can finally talk about this, is what you're saying, Warren.
Yes, that's a worse way to put it, yes. But that's proper voice to say it in.
As tends to happen, because there's so much that's always in flux and so many things to deal with. But yeah, the guests, potential guests have changed here and there. The duration, the start time, all have been all over the map, really. But now it's been sorted
every year.
out.
That's a thing, and it's not nobody's fault. It's just organizing. This is a mammoth thing to do, and so stuff gets juggled around. So here we are.
Absolutely.
But this time it's worked out great for us.
It's kind of a different feeling to not have it be the first thing. Full stop of the con, but kind of harkens back to our first live show, which was often one of the side panel rooms, not the main stage. And
the most nervous I've ever felt.
That was like mid-afternoon or something when we did that one.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, it's great from a technical standpoint because there's a few things before us, and all the kinks will be ironed out. We are usually
that's true.
The kink havers.
Yeah.
We can definitely hope.
Yeah. And it means that
if there are any kinks to have in the first place.
Yeah. It means a lot of you won't have to wake up and line up. I think just because of the time of day and the guests involved, it's going to be a packed house. So I think you might have to get there early anyway because
absolutely.
of what it is.
Yeah.
It's also our 1000th episode, which, as we said before, is nuts that this timing worked out for that.
We did not plan this.
No.
I know you don't believe us, but we didn't.
No, and it happens to be on February 14th. Yes, it's Valentine's Day, but it's also Erica and my wedding anniversary, for crying out loud.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. So on the exact anniversary of us getting married, at that time of day almost, we'll be talking to Steven Moffat and Julie Gardner.
Years?
So, yeah.
How many years has that been?
Warren, it's going to be 12. Wow. 12 years.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And congratulations.
I am.
Yeah, apparently our lead-in is going to be in conversation with Doctor Who creative executive producer Joel Collins.
Nice.
So
there you go.
So and that starts at 12:15. So for those who want to see all the big wigs, all the exec producers that are at Galley, then back-to-back panels are your friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And speaking of back-to-back paddles, right after our live show, I mean, like literally right after, I have to run over to the panels rooms because I'm going to be interviewing David Gooderson, Davros and Destiny Adolix, and a ton of other stuff besides because I'm doing my research on him. And so Sean was telling me, here's how you do it the quick way. He was giving me secret passageway instructions. So I don't have to run all through everybody to get there. I can just kind of shortcut my way in, which I've never had to do before. So that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a panel called Gods and Legends, also at 1 p.m. on Friday, which is being moderated by Kat. So she's going to have to miss the RFS show.
Well.
But that's appropriate because we are the complete opposite of Gods and Legends. So,
that's true.
Bums and drovers, as I said in Tombstone.
That's true.
So, panel with basically a lot of Big Finish folks, Big Finish writers, including John Dorney, about mythology. So that's good. Doctor Who has done its fair share of mythology, so they'll have some good stuff to talk about, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's as good as Julie Gardner and Steven Moffat. Well, I just don't know.
Don't know about that. We're the place to be.
And given the current state of relations between our one great nation and the Americans, we may have a few things to express, maybe not say, but express in terms of our nationality.
Yeah.
Just watch this space, as many showrunners have said.
Yeah, exactly. The full schedule sort of came out. Well, we won't break it down now. We'll do that too on A, when I have a voice again, and B, when
of course,
the Gallifrey One preview show happens, episode 999, the weekend before Gallifrey One. So we'll break that down further when that happens. But it all came
15 days.
I went through it and I was marking a lot of things down. And as usual, I'll probably miss half of them, but I still marked them down. Oh, there's one. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, what's with this Steven Shapansky guy being listed for the academic symposium? Are you handing out drinks or?
Yeah,
that's just me.
I'll be doing a thing on the TARDIS Talks. Hopefully, I can talk for the TARDIS Talks by that point. But that's don't ask me questions, Chris, when I am literally unable to answer them.
Don't do it. In fact, I'm going to throw in this. And I knew nothing of this before I saw the schedule. There's a panel called The Ever-Changing Frame Rates of Doctor Who. It's about frame rates in Doctor Who, like 25, 24, 60, 30, all the classics. And I asked on a group that we're in, is this made specifically for me and Legopolis, Steven? And then our friend Jason Snell chimed in with, and me too. Yeah. So the three absolute video broadcast production dorks are going to be sitting there just giddy while the person who puts it on, who I don't have in front of me right now, is going to give us the sweet science of frame rates. Oh, it's going to be good. Lovely. Let's find out what other 1-inch tape enthusiasts are in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted them to be outed. That's the outing that's going to happen at Gallifrey One.
Says here you're doing a keynote address for the TARDIS Talks. Wow.
Does it really say that? Well, how about that? That's what I am doing.
Neato.
Yeah.
Keynote address, Steven Shapansky, Radio Free Skaro podcast.
There you go. And that's on the same day. And then I run over.
It's 2:30, so 2:30. half an hour after the live show.
Yeah, and then I'm off doing the Boom commentary with Steven Moffat and Julianne Robinson at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then a busy Friday afternoon.
Very busy Friday, and then I'm interviewing Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy on the Saturday, and then Jenna Coleman on the Sunday. Last panel of the weekend, more or less. Yep. So that's cool too. Busy, fun weekend.
I have questions, and I want to talk about more of this, but we can wait.
We'll wait till your voice recovers.
Oh, it's mighty good.
Wait till the proper.
If we survive, if you survive, until then, as we've said before.
Indeed, the official preview show in a couple weeks. Yes, we will do that. So anyway, tickets still available. Gallifrey1.com. And join us there. It's going to be a blast. Now it feels real, Schedules out there.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's definitely getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all good stuff ahead. What's next? Russell Tovey in Variety Magazine.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff he talks about in this article, none of which we care about, except the leading line, what should the diehard Doctor Who fans know about the War Between the Land and the Sea? He says it's shot like an indie movie, whatever that means. Could be documentary style, could be Section 31.
Oh,
He
God.
just kind of threw things at a wall. He doesn't say that. I shouldn't misrepresent him. He talks about how Gugu Mbatha-Raw is in prosthetics and phenomenal, so you'd have to assume she's either a Sea Devil or a Silurian. You don't have I can screw her name up, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, looking like a Sea Devil, because what would be the point? You know what I mean? Like, you can have her look like herself and a Silurian, like, or more recognizably so. So I would think that means they're Silurians, or some other alien, who knows, like some other cousin to the Sea Devils. It seems like a waste of, but then again, Star Wars had Lupita Nyong'o as a prune, so who knows what they're doing with this?
Who knows? Maybe the makeup is just something like an aged up Martha's sister, or something a little more, Occam's razory. I mean, but,
you're right. It could be set in the future. Well, no, it's not, because Kate Blanchett is there, so it's in the present. So I'm just widely spitballing here. I have no idea what they're doing with her, but she's in prosthetics, so that's interesting. Whatever it might be, maybe she's a half Sea Devil, half person or something. That's the war between the land and the sea, right? Who knows?
I do appreciate how he's the question was put to him: what should the diehard Doctor Who fans know about this show? Answer: oh God, what should the diehard Doctor Who fans know about? The story of these creatures has appeared in Doctor Who episodes. It might have been in the 60s, but this has been a refresh of that.
It hasn't, but okay, Russell Tovey. But again, we talked about this last week. Actors don't need to know all this crap.
No.
Like, they just, I think we get entertained by them screwing it up. So if they got it all right, it would get boring after a while. It's nice to have a couple of them know the deal and the rest of them don't.
Neat. He talks about fetishes and being a vanilla person. Okay.
That's not neat. I don't need to hear about Russell Tovey's fetishes or lack thereof, especially when he's just mentioned Sea Devils. Like, this is not cool. Anyway.
So anyway, links to the show notes. You can read that. Season 7 collection trailer.
For our friends in the UK. But what I love about these trailers is that they take just the most janky old footage and somehow being cutting trailers together well, they make it look cool and almost current in a way. And also for you, whoever you may be, haters of the new regeneration in War Games in Color, you've got pretty much all of the old regeneration in this trailer. So you can just go to that if you want to. Plus, there's documentaries. There's Matthew Sweet and
John
he's
Levy.
talking about Terror of the Suburbs, I believe. Sorry, Chris, go ahead. I don't want to.
I was going to say, his interview with John Levine. Which is the feature piece on here is, as we were talking about before hitting record. I mean, John Levine is currently the only person alive from season 7,
which is nuts to think about.
I mean, kind of for the regulars anyway, because Nick Courtney and John Pertwee and Carolyn John, and I don't even know who else is considered a regular for 7.
And pouring several after that one.
It was like Hawkins, for example. Paul Darrow is only in one story, so he's not a regular. So
and Mike Yates wasn't in it at that time.
No,
Yeah.
Season 8,
and passed away anyway. So
he's passed. But when it was shot, he was probably still alive, but he wasn't in until season 8.
And Toby Haydock has a Looking for Mac about Malcolm Hulke, which I'm sure will be fascinating because Malcolm Hulke was a fascinating dude, so that'll be good. And Toby always knocks those out of the park.
Yeah, and Stephen, not to want to throw to you necessarily, but weren't you saying something about Michael Herbert being involved in that in some way?
I think so, yeah. I think he's involved in the documentary somehow right now, yeah.
Which would make sense given he's got, multiple books about Hulk. But I hope they talk to John Williams as well.
Don't know
if they did. Yeah, he was.
I mean, Toby and John are long time friends. So
I mean, years ago he was, looking to write a book that sort of just became an extended Doctor Who magazine article, I think, on Malcolm Hulke. Who was our friend John Williams. So hopefully he'll be involved. Hopefully,
a fine specialist as well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a pre-order link in North America for this soon as well. Because Warren, you want to get this one even as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going to buy this one. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, for Inferno alone, but the documentaries look great. Like I was holding off on these Blu-ray sets, but now I'm slowly becoming a convert. Thanks to Chris donating a couple to my way.
It's easy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Get you hooked for free, comp you, and then you get.
Yeah, here we go.
Get
First
addicted.
Knish is free. A little Welcome Back Kotter reference for all you incredibly old people out there.
Wow, that's really
And
old.
it's at some point in time. So there have been both between the BBC shop and Amazon. There have been a lot of the past sets on sale. So hopefully, once money can flow a little more freely from you, Warren, you can fill in some of the backlogs.
I will see.
Especially the Sylvester McCoy year.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm still an unemployable bum. Hint, hint, everyone, get me a job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any work to get work. You can do work to get me at work. Come on.
Patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro to help Warren. Yeah.
Otherwise known as my welfare.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a little tawdry.
That's true.
So let's just move on to the next thing, shall we?
Yes.
It's Saturday you start selling feet pics on OnlyFans.
Nobody wants to see that.
No.
I don't.
No.
Later this week comes out Doctor Who magazine 613. What's in that thing?
Chris, you want to go or shall I?
I'll take a little bit of it here. Big interview with Joe Martin, which is should be interesting.
5 years today as we record this, her debut. Yeah.
And I've listened to her first Big Finish, and it's quite entertaining. She's great in it, and also John Dorney as the War Doctor's in it. So it's two of them that don't know where the hell the other one comes from. So it's quite entertaining, and other shenanigans and usual Big Finish nonsense happen, etc. But it's good. Worth it.
And then the deep look at the Savages, which we don't have a pre-order link in North America for that yet either, do we?
No, March 24th it's coming out in the UK, according to the pre-order link there. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one so much. I think
me too.
I think the Savages as a story.
I barely remember it. I'll be honest.
There's not much. There's not a heck of a lot to it, but I just like it. But I don't know. Lots of regular stuff.
Yeah.
Fond look at the peculiarities of fan favorite Genesis of the Daleks.
There we go.
How dare they?
I mean, that's
Peculiarities.
50th anniversary too coming up actually. So
it would be too, because we just hit 50 years of Tom Baker taking over. So
I know. I watched I watched Ark in Space Part 1 yesterday, and it's on its anniversary because of course we're watching season 12, one episode a week. It's good stuff, everyone.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm going to channel Chris here and ask, is the peculiarities of Genesis of the Daleks, does that mean they have a full centerfold of a clam? Is that what they got going on there? No, maybe not.
I could say something, but it's just going
I know, don't
descend.
Absolutely
It's
not.
going to descend somewhere dark, so let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Justice for the drone clams. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
But
Absolutely.
drops on Thursday. One of the big things is going to be. I'm assuming this will be in his usual column, but some information on writers for the second season. RTD will be dropping that in this issue.
Very cool. We'll talk all about that on the next episode.
I believe we have a couple of bingo cards assembled of people's predictions that are probably wrong, and we're going to be comparing whatever he comes up with to that.
Yeah,
because last time a couple of Reddit predictions were way off the mark, or fiction. They were as what they were.
Yeah,
fiction. Yeah, complete fiction.
Soundtrack news on vinyl. Who wants to take that?
Oh, I could do it. It's the Daleks in Color soundtrack, so all the new music from there and the remixings thereof. It comes in 2 records, in claret and blue. And I just looked at these records and said, if you put these to your eyes, could you see in 3D? Because they look like those kind of glasses, except big records. Let's see, 7 original 25-minute episodes, colorized, weaved together, 75-minute blockbuster. That's the usual bump. Brand new soundtrack, created by Mark Ayres, using elements of Christopher Carey's original music with newly recorded score. It's been updated. That's just me ripping on it.
That is.
It's ripping reading, frankly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, it's on digital, but now it's on vinyl. Basically, is how it goes. So
And if you've listened to if you've watched Daleks in Color, it's unlike War Games where it's definitely noticeable. It's much more noticeable here. So if you liked it, here's more of that.
Yeah,
and that's that.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, and CDs as well for those who still deal with CDs.
That's true. That's true.
But when I was looking at something, was it Silver Screen Store? I can't remember. Anyway, For some reason, it showed me U.S. pricing. It was like
Ouch.
$43 US or something like that. Like, not cheap. I mean, you gotta want this stuff. I mean, it's awesome that it's out there.
Mm-hmm. And I would bet it'll be at the Gallifrey One dealer's room. It seems like the kind of thing that would be at the Gallifrey One dealer's room anyway. I don't know if it is.
It depends on when it actually hits.
True.
Just after Galley, I believe, February 25th.
I suppose it's meant
that's
to be just after Galley, but it doesn't mean they might not have it early.
And the American price makes me think that maybe they've got, it's at least in the country to be grabbed somewhere at some time. Unlike Canada, where it probably won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Which
nobody
also begs the question of, are we going to see something comparable for the War Games? And I mean, I don't see why not.
I can't see why you wouldn't. Yeah.
At some point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wonder if these things coming out depends on these, like how many people bought digital copies or copies on DVD or Blu-ray of the Daleks in color, and then henceforth War Games in color, which I'm still looking for and haven't found yet on iTunes.
That'll probably be out closer to when the home video releases are
probably
available in March.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But as far as like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Some executive somewhere has decided that we're going to need to sell X number of copies.
Mm-hmm.
So
you'd think
as long as they meet that number, then maybe they'll keep producing stuff, or who knows? I mean, but I have no idea how many of these get sold. But I'll definitely see a handful of friends on Facebook buying, this vinyl, that vinyl, whatever. So
vinyl's a niche to begin with, and so this is a niche of a niche of a niche. So when you get right down to it, but still, I wish them the very best.
Yeah.
If I had a record player, I'd buy it, but I don't. So
right, yeah, and they look nice too. They're just pretty to look at. Science of Doctor Who exhibit. Who wants to take that?
I don't have it up, Chris, so you do it.
We talked about this. When was it? Sometime last year. Exhibit opens in mid-March at the San Diego Comic-Con Museum. Which,
interesting, yeah.
I
didn't know that was a thing, but okay.
But something on Science of Doctor Who. Looks, I don't know, interesting. Bunch of like prop costumes and Daleks and this and that.
Mini exhibition.
Monster Vault is what it looks like they're calling it. A Dalek voice simulator. That's difficult.
Wow, I know. It's basically what I'm using right now. I mean,
the word science is doing some work here. Like it's being stretched to its limit, I think.
Yeah, a little
it's
bit.
Doctor Who. It's a lot of hand-waving nonsense.
Yeah. I can't remember for a fact if this is the one that was also in other places as well.
It was in New Zealand before this. Yeah.
Okay.
It was in Auckland previously. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's always, I always appreciate when stuff like this comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
outside of the UK, even if it's to a place like San Diego or Auckland, where I'm very unlikely to be.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that it's out there and people who can get to those places can experience it is pretty awesome.
And putting it near Comic-Con makes sense, because you will have an appreciable audience for that.
Yeah. I don't know how long this runs for.
A whole year, I think, all the way to March of 2026.
So it will be running during Comic-Con proper then.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I may or may not go to. We'll find out. But yeah.
Depends on what Doctor Who is doing. Other than that, don't bother. Well, I know you want to be there for the Marvel reveals.
Oh, well, obviously.
Phase 17 or whatever it is. And of course, your favorite, the Star Trek panels.
I love the Star Trek panels. I want to be there for Alex Kurtzman's panels. So, I'll be there for that. So,
and don't forget, they may announce Ashoka season 2.
Oh,
I know you're right in front of the line for that one, too. Hall H all the way, baby.
Yeah, with my Dave Filoni hat on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, your Dave Filoni hat, which actually is just a hat with Dave Filoni on top.
Exactly, it is. Exactly what it is. So, anyway, J&T Day at the Burgess Institute. Who wants this?
I'll take it because of conflict of interest from Chris talking about it since it's Burgess Institute. Here's what I love about it. Apparently, it's a play that they had auditions for. Chris reminded us of this ahead of time. But also, Me and Him and Who is what it's called. What I love about it is the graphic they've produced is J&T's head on Colin Baker's costume. And I'm like, it fits way better than you think it should. I'm just like, yes, actually, he could have been a doctor. It's just the looks of him. He looks like an 80s doctor of some sort.
It's the curly hair. It goes with the Colin Baker's curly hair.
So it's a special... Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Back some months ago, I'd sent you guys a link about when they were doing casting calls for this thing. We didn't talk about it on air at the time, but now that it's a thing, that's good. Happens February 1st. Bad news is it's sold out.
Yep.
So if you want,
hope you got your ticket.
If you want tickets, hopefully you've already got them, because unless you have a time machine, you're probably out of luck.
That's true. But there's lots of people who'll be there, like Cartmel.
Yeah, I can read those off.
Yeah, please do.
Edward Cartmel, Stephen Wyatt, Stephen Gallagher, and Richard Marson, who wrote The Life of John Nathan Turner. And it also says, as one would say of Paul McGann in The Five-ish Doctors, subject to work commitments.
Right.
But those guys are all scheduled to be there. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's in Manchester at the International Anthony Burgess Foundation. So I'm assuming it's Anthony Burgess from Clockwork Orange fame.
And several other things,
And other things, but
you would think so, yes.
No, so,
alrighty.
No idea if he's from Manchester or not, but let's I'll assume he is, or had some affiliation with Manchester at any rate.
I'd be intrigued to hear a review of this from anyone who's going to go. So if anyone chime in, drop us a line and with your review of this play, because I'm very, very intrigued to see how this went down. So
he was born in Greater Manchester.
There you are.
There you go. Local hero.
Yep.
Sure.
One last thing, Barbara Clegg obituary in The Guardian.
The interesting thing about this is that, well, besides the fact that it's sad that Barbara Clegg died at 98, so a good run there, is that they talk about how she was in Enlightenment and so she wrote Enlightenment, pardon me, but also it says it's the first. I saw some other people say it was the first Doctor Who directed by a woman. I'm like, that is nonsense.
No, written by a woman.
Right, but it was the woman. But I also saw people claim it was the first Doctor Who story directed by a woman.
It was the first one
different
written.
woman.
First one written and directed by a woman.
That's
okay,
true.
yes, but I saw people claiming otherwise.
Patty Russell was directing back in the William Hartnell days.
That's exactly my point. But I saw people misreporting this, saying it was also the first story directed by a woman, and I'm like, that's not true. Patty Russell has been doing this for 20 years.
Julia Smith, yeah.
Nothing against Fiona Cumming, but
A, people are dumb, and B, well, we can take the opportunity to correct that mistake.
Right.
Yeah, this is the time that I get on my high horse about this kind of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. Patty Russell was doing this for years before.
Credit where it's due. Like Steven said, Julia Smith as well. And like for women writers, we got Jane Baker, we got Barbara Clegg, and not much like you can count on one hand.
And Classic Who, certainly, yeah.
And not to undersell any of their contributions, by the way. I'm just saying that somebody got that wrong. And I intend to find them.
But the obituary is
the main
nice.
reason the obituary is in here is because it's Toby Haydock's obituary for Barbara Clegg, because we obviously talked about her passing last week as well. But Toby always does an annoyingly magnificent job. I wish he didn't have to. I do wish he didn't have to.
Yeah, I know.
Make this his. He has many niches in the world of Doctor Who, and obituaries, especially obituaries in The Guardian, and his annual, wrap up of who we lost during the year or prior years that only came to light, and so on. It's it's one of those things where I'm glad that we have somebody with his knowledge and skill and finesse doing this sort of a thing, but man, I wish we didn't have to have somebody doing this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, we're blessed that he is as good at this as he is, because he really is. These are excellent obituaries.
They are indeed. Well done, Toby, and well done, Barbara Clegg, as well. Life lived, age 98. All right, that's it. After break, no time for extra words. Commentary, Moonbase 3. Enjoy.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back to episode 3 of our classic series commentary from the Doctor Who classic 1967's The Moonbase. We're going to watch cartoon Doctor Who today. The animated recon, of course, of part 3 of this here, The Moonbase. So I assume you've got your legally purchased Blu-rays and DVDs and VHS tapes. Oh, actually, no, you wouldn't see it on VHS tape unless they re-released the animated version on VHS.
Well, they did that for, what was it, Alien Romulus?
Did they really?
Various horror films do that too.
VHS?
Yeah, various, because there's a whole cult VHS sort of revival, I guess.
Really?
I mean, they kept
Mostly around horror.
Oh,
that sort of thing kept vinyl alive. So hey,
that's true. I expect to see, if I was to buy a VHS of Alien Romulus, I would expect to see a 4:3 image. I do not want to see full letterbox because that is against you are losing the spirit of the project if you're actually making it
Also,
good quality.
I can sort of recommend V/H/S. The various different anthologies. Not all the
series,
stories are good, but they're kind of good in the format of whatever they're not parodying, but like aping. Like the latest one is High 8 or whatever. So, but there are a few very good stories and a few crappy ones too. So check them out. They're all on Shudder if you're into that.
Oh, well, this episode of Radio Free Skaro brought to you by Shudder. All your horror movies under one roof, including the Moonbase episode 3, which we'll be watching in 3, 2, 1, play. There we go.
the only shuddering happening here will be at I don't know, something that they're writing. I don't know.
I was going to say the frame rate. I don't know because it's animated.
Some such.
What
are we watching here? We're watching an NTSC copy. Okay.
Sorry, yes, it was a
disgusting. I feel sick and dirty
straight
just
off
thinking about it.
16 millimeter film. They animated this live. They didn't animate this live, but I do like. I mean, this is kind of rotoscoped, which is kind of cool. Even they added the table wobble. That's pretty cool. That's dedication awesome. To the bit. Yeah.
Also, I love the glossy light coming off of the robot here.
Robot.
Well, that's what helps to generate your soul patch thing. So.
Oh yeah. They were back to
there we go.
Soul patch.
See what AI took from us? Soul patches.
I know.
Oh wait a minute. That's actually a net good.
But it added a 14th finger.
Great. That's what the world needs.
Oh my God. Oh well, he's dead.
Oh no, not
was that the
Riders
Canadian? I've been waiting around for the Canadian, and maybe that was
His
him.
Flag didn't look like it, but I couldn't.
Anders.
Mm-hmm. Much like Battlestar Galactica's Anders, who ends up in a bath yelling things.
I don't know who was that. Mark Shepard. I'm just throwing names out there.
I'm not even going to bother. Don't even bother trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Nope.
Is it Bruce Boxleitner? Was he in that one?
No.
Yes.
But back in the day, we did interview
Mrs.
a pile
King,
of the cast.
Scarecrow.
And he was the only male who wasn't shorter than you'd think he'd be. He was just as big as he looked on TV.
So 4'8" or something. Was
no, he was a strapping football-looking guy.
Oh, okay.
The rest of them were like, oh yeah, I thought that guy would be taller, but no.
No. I mean, if you think of something like James Callis, for example, yeah, he's tiny.
That's the guy. I think that's Apollo. Yeah.
No,
nice enough guy.
James Callis is Baltar.
Oh, okay. He was a very fine fellow, but also, yes, tiny compared to tiny. And by tiny, I mean my height, so go to hell.
I want to say that Baltar was, what's his name? From
John Colicos?
There we go, from Starlost. Yeah,
I mean, that is the OG, baby.
The definitive.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, the only Battlestar Galactica that matters.
But the new Baltar is great. How dare you, first of all?
New Baltar is 20 years old, yeah.
He was great. They were all very good. And fine show.
Death slog of a show, but...
I saw a thing the other day, just while we're talking about Battlestar, because why not?
And there's Cybermen on the way, just so you know, everyone at home.
Sure.
They're Cybermen on
the way.
They're
sort of like Cylon.
Yeah.
I saw
they are a little bit,
actually.
They kind of sound like him, too.
On the BBC News website about people doing... I don't know if it's about Star Wars or not Battlestar. Anyway, people doing like...
How dare you derail this with the Battlestar-related thing? We're not even talking about them. All right,
like arboreal surveys of forests used where Star Wars was shot just to gauge the impact of people going into nature and, filming and trotting everywhere.
Ewoks. Blame the Ewoks.
Well, that also goes for Battlestar because half of what they did in the first
shot. That's why I was thinking is that forest outside of Vancouver.
Right. Yeah. Who made a greater environmental impact, Battlestar Galactica or what's the name of the show? Stargate. There we go.
There's more Stargates, so probably them.
Yeah,
they probably had a bigger carbon footprint.
Yeah. There's however many series. Universe
4 or 5 at least.
Universe Atlantis, the regular one.
And it went for almost 20 years. more or less.
Yeah.
Plus the movie.
You see all those houses in Vancouver, though? Those houses were paid by Stargate.
I would not be the least bit surprised. Or X-Files.
Or X-Files,
X-Files.
or Fringe,
Or any of the CW shows.
Yeah, all
Probably
those.
mostly the CW shows.
Yeah.
Arrowverse, yeah.
And
Speaking
other
of which,
ones like Riverdale.
yeah, Annika Wills there lived for a time on a commune, I think, on Vancouver Islands, just to tie it into this and Canada.
Well, that Vancouver Island, I mean, so a few of the islands are still a little commune-y.
She was basically MIA. She was like missing for several years. Nobody knew where she went, and she was just on some commune, I think, on Vancouver Island. And then she finally returned to the UK at some point. But
This is a Twitter board meeting, by the way, we're watching here.
yeah, a little bit.
It's like a bunch of robots and mutant dudes.
But Cybernet, they're always, I don't know. I just feel like layoffs are a big reason why Cybernet have to rely on other people to carry out their stuff. You know,
They would be
just-
corporate-minded buffoons. It's true.
yeah, I think they
It
are.
could just be general understaffing.
Well, it could be. I mean,
They need to meet their cybermat quotas for the next quarter.
yeah. I mean,
And
especially
the cyber controller is, he's a whip cracker.
yeah. Well, especially
So
the
that guy
modern
must be-
series because they're all delete. They're all about the layoffs, is what they are. Whereas these is more
This hood
simulation.
rules, by the way.
It's pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of the hood from Underworld, but there's a French guy, again,
yeah.
a French selling scarf guy.
Yep. The other guy that
That's everywhere to them, huh?
the guy that had
They're all
the
French now.
hood put on him. His flag looked like it could, I mean, it's black and white, so I don't know, but
Yeah.
his flag looked like it could be Belgian or French or something.
Belgium, France, Nigeria. Name a country that has
Italy.
3 vertical colors on their flag.
Yeah, with white,
A
with
lot
white in the
White in
middle.
the middle, yeah. Italy, Ireland. I don't know
Not
what it was.
Belgium, but
No, look at that. Like,
that's yellow. But
yeah.
Well, there's America in the background, I assume.
No, that was the
Australia
Oh,
New
yeah, you're right.
Zealand.
Yeah. Just from a distance, it does look American because of the square at the top.
square
That's
and a
just 'cause they
larger
didn't-
square.
Yeah, they just didn't draw it in the detail.
Yeah.
'Cause why bother?
Why bother? Indeed, you
So
wouldn't be
dorks like us can comment on
Yeah,
it.
Well, are we really though? Are we?
dorks. Yes.
No, commenting on that.
Ish.
I thought for a second there was a little animation thing in one of the Cybermen's jug handles there, and like it looks like bubbles. And I thought, is there water in there? Are they like drinking? Like,
That'd be
is
kinda
there
cool.
one of
It's
those
cool.
novelty
if you put-
foam hats where they have beer cans in each side?
I would
They
love to
just,
see
like-
them with like a Homer Simpson look on their face. And a
Exactly.
novelty beer hat, the big cowboy hat, and the air horn.
If you put the pot in the circular thing at the top, the smoke will come out of the mouth, so you can use their heads as bongs.
It's a hookah. It's a hookah. The hookah man. That's who it is.
I could just see them being completely disgusted with that.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I want to say that by Tomb, I think those are silver as well, but I could be mistaken. But I know here they're clear again because they kind of were in 10th Planet. The David Banks Cyberman book. Maybe if I remember for part 4, episode 4, I'll drag out the David Banks Cyberman book and follow along a little bit.
I just love the drawn light on these things. It reminds me of like 80s comics would do this kind of thing with light effects on a subject.
It's kind of cool though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm weirdly nostalgic for this kind of animation now. It's
Really, it's probably a lot less like this on the actual footage.
yeah. I don't know. Shot on 405 live videotape. Oh, look, who's got a little microphone there.
No, that's like your car antenna.
Mm-hmm.
Which
He's
those
just
are
happy to
long
see
since
you.
gone away.
Yeah.
I assume the whole window's an antenna now, just like it is on your phone, where the whole phone is an antenna. Or like around the sort of circumference of the phone.
No, I think there's a little thing, a little widget, a little wedge thing on. Like I know in our car we have like a little thing in the middle of it. It looks like an aerodynamic thing, but I think it's actually the antenna. I think.
Like when did that go away? The 90s?
I want to say the 90s. It started fading out. Yeah.
Because I do remember it from as being a kid, just seeing that on a car, and just the thing that was on a car, the extended things antenna, so you could get your AM radio proper. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, think of like going to, okay, we're going to date ourselves. I'm going to, whatever.
I already
date
did.
ourselves.
Don't
Wait,
worry about it.
just I want to point out
when-
clever, legendary cyber line there.
When you went to the drive-in, you had to loop that metal
Oh,
ring
yeah.
around your antenna to pull to get the audio from the.
I never went to a drive-in theater. Never had.
I went to one in San Jose in whenever the Lady Ghostbusters film came out, 2016, something like that.
16, yeah.
And the sound is no better than it was. Oh no, actually no. You tuned it. They my friends who took me there brought a sort of a boombox, and you actually tuned it to a particular channel, so it was a little better.
Yeah.
You listen to your car stereo, yeah. Mm-hmm. I assume it was in sync. That's analog technology. If you ever tried that with digital, like streaming technology, like literally there'd be 300 cars in the parking lot, and like every single one would be out of sync with each other, because that's what digital streaming is actually like. It's terrible.
For the record, I like the Lady Ghostbusters before you write in going, you're just a gamer gator or something. No, I actually liked it. I thought it was funny. And Chris Hemsworth, I didn't know he was funny until I saw it. He's hilarious in that movie.
Yeah. He plays a good himbo.
Was that before or after? It was after Thor. During Thor?
Yeah, but he wasn't played for laughs as much in Thor.
No, like the third movie, what's that one called?
Ragnarok. That's kind of like...
That was after.
I suspect that they took a look at Ghostbusters and said, oh my God, what are we doing? We're sleeping on this dude. And
that's what I was thinking.
And then made it funnier, which I think, frankly, it's the best Thor movie.
Yeah, Thor came first, and then what was the second one? Dark World?
And then Ragnarok. And then Love and Thunder just kind of took it a little too far, frankly.
Terrible. Love and Thunder was terrible.
Taika Waititi out of control.
Terrible.
It is.
I don't like Taika Waititi. There, I said it.
Oh, you're a bad man.
You seem to have a way of not liking his stuff.
I've seen...
Steven, you don't like much.
Well, you know what? I've seen 3 of his things.
Have you watched the soccer film?
Is it called the soccer film? No, because I've seen 3 of his things, and I think, you know what? That's it. That's 3 strikes.
Well, you're not. There. You probably hate Our Flag Means Death, but it is quite good.
I don't like that show at all.
Did you ever watch any of it, or you just hate it?
No, I did watch. I gave it 2 tries, and I says, nope, this
fair enough.
Not for me.
I enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The movie is called Next Goal Wins.
Sure.
About the American Samoa national soccer team, football team.
Oh, I've heard that's terrible.
Lost 31-0 against Australia.
Listen, I'm gonna pander to Steven. I just looked up yesterday when September 5th comes out, otherwise known as the Olympics 1972 Analog Television Festival, and it's not out yet, and I'm bitter as hell about it.
I think it's opening December 13th as we record. This is coming out for Patreons in late December. In January, for those of you on the regular feed, we have yet to see it as the time of recording, obviously, so... But that's the movie I want to see. Once every 5 or 10 years, I make a movie that I want to see. So,
pandering to you and you only.
Well, listen, twice a decade. Is that pandering? Am I being pandered to if I see a movie twice a decade?
Not.
That's exactly. Anyway,
coincidenting at you.
Animated Cybermen are turning knobs on their thing. Just a check in here. We're enjoying this, more or less. But where's Doctor Who in it though? I've barely seen Doctor Who in this episode again.
They can never afford to do this, but I would like it if the ping pong balls had like little bits of steam coming out of them. Like this, that's like a valve for coolant or something.
I think they're actually closer to what we would call in North America wiffle balls, which is kind of what they use for pickleball now. For those of you who are making costumes at home, like maybe they are kind of practice golf balls. I think maybe.
But I'm just trying to figure out the engineering purpose of these things.
Obviously they are joints for their circuits, and
I suppose it could be that. Yeah,
they're tubes that give them.
I'm glad to donate some of my gears, all my beers. Like C-3PO's got a bunch of beers. No, I just always, even as a kid, I was like, I'll gladly donate some of my gears. I'm like, he's a robot. Why would he have gears? Why would he have something more advanced than that?
No, ask the Clockwork Droids. They got gears.
That's a little different.
True. Pretty good invention, those guys. Clockwork Droids. Anyway, nail varnish remover. Of course, a woman would know a nail varnish remover because she's a woman, right? 1967.
And then this is 1967 nail varnish. That stuff is going to stink up the room something terrible.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, everybody's going to be passing out.
Yeah.
It's probably full of asbestos and formaldehyde.
Probably. Just choose your literal poison.
Yeah.
Lead-based nail polish remover.
Just like gasoline, which will never go out of style.
Never. Drill, baby, drill.
I've seen the Gen Zs blame many bad Gen X habits on leaded gasoline, and you know what? They might have a point. Yeah. I speak as a Gen Xer here. They might be right.
I think I'll say this much: the acetone angle of this is superior to the gold coins of Silver Nemesis.
Quite true. I think that they should be flinging bottles of acetone via slingshot at the Cybermen. That would be wicked awesome.
real acetone, so the actor inside is screaming as they're dying a painful death.
Like, has the Doctor had, like, he's barely had any lines. This is quite fascinating, actually. How little the Doctor is actually in these episodes. Trout must have loved it. I get to show up and like glare and brood like he's doing there.
This is why you don't like anything, because some minor tiny piece of minutia happens in this, and you're like, now this is quite fascinating.
Yeah. I've begun to narrow it down, Warren. You like more media than anything, but hate the world. I like the world, but hate most media. I think that's kind of where we,
that's it's not 100% on either side, but yeah,
it's probably closer to that end of things.
I like more media. I'm not in love with all media. Chris is the consumer of most things of the three of us.
Whereas I am not.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
And his views of the world are pretty neutral, I think. So he balances it all out.
Unless the thing is Doctor Who, in which case that's definitely Steven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I decided a little while ago that, like, what's the point on watching everything once when I could just, like, what if I just watch Doctor Who from now until the end of
decided a little while ago, like a decade ago?
Let's just do one show. Let's just focus on one. And just, there's a lot there.
So you're autistic hyper-focusing.
A little bit. I think I'm just coming to terms with it. That's all. I find so much more
things that you've seen, things that you've listened to,
yeah,
and you like and whatever. They can't change. So there can never be surprises. There can never be.
Is that why that's a thing? I have no idea.
No, you know what? I was reading somewhere.
Part of it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I think it was James Curry Smith's blog where he sort of mentioned about, or somewhere, I don't remember where it was now, about how 1960s TV was made, because they were basically making it as live. And so, like, when you see one scene end, one camera has gone off to the next set and they cue the start of the next scene as if it's live. And I've only just now started to notice, like, I want to notice now as I watch more 60s stuff, that when you see a scene end, it often ends with one camera eventually just covering everything, because the other three cameras have now moved off to the other set to start that. And then when you're starting that scene, like, if you're a good director and not Richard Martin, you'll start it with just, like, often they'll start with a camera zoomed in on one thing and then they'll zoom out. And that one thing might be somebody, like, pushing a pencil or something like that. Something that they can start doing before they're cued, so there's not an awkward moment where they're just standing there waiting for their cue. They're doing it for 2 to 3 seconds and then they zoom out. And I've started to notice this. So the next pilgrimage that I have, because let's face it,
really?
There's going to be one.
Of course there is.
Of course there's going to be.
Person.
I don't need a reason to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start watching more closely for directorial things.
A while back, going through that, and not that any of the infotext tracks are new to the Blu-rays, but
so, you know what? They're updated. Some of them are updated. Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are, yeah.
Nevertheless, going through the season 2 Blu-ray set months back when I did, there's a lot of stuff in the infotext about, camera movements and, which stage was used, which studio, where the cameras were. This one was moved over from A to B to start the next shot as you're talking about. So there's a lot of, I'm assuming that means that a lot of that is documented somewhere somehow.
Oh, the camera script, probably.
Probably. I mean, and those are, if not fully, at least mostly, or whatever, on those Blu-rays. So
yeah, I know that on the missing episodes CD releases, they also included the camera scripts for the missing episodes. So those are the ones I don't have, because I only have the audiobook versions, and they didn't come with PDFs, which is a shame. Hey, boy, they're fighting. So the boys.
I know there's some alpha male nonsense happening here.
There's like Fraser Hines, I'm going to take your job in 5 weeks' time. You back off.
Not you, Polly. This is men's work. Okay, great. Another gold star for 60s Doctor Who.
67, baby.
Also, a lot of what you've been describing, Stephen, is just getting older, and that's fine. We're all three in the same boat here. You just find what you like and you stick with it when you're older.
I suppose.
Why bother?
But the funny thing is that I feel like I'm going backwards. Like, as I get older, I like even older material. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not rediscovering stuff from the 90s, because in the 90s I was listening to stuff from the 70s already.
I was telling you offline that as the world gets dumber and dumber, I've retreated into history books, because I'm like, well, at least it was differently stupid back then.
Yeah.
Now it's just flat out dumb.
And when history repeats itself, as the saying goes, you'll be ready.
No, that doesn't help you at all. I have a degree in history, and all that does is depress you.
It does kind of
Because you can see it coming before other idiots.
Yeah.
And I said other idiots. I'm an idiot too. I just have a little more, as the one Time Lord subgroup says, we just have more foresight than others.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to be like, what's her name? Cassandra, who knows the future, but nobody is.
Oh, yeah. I've been called hyperbolic for my views on a certain administration that may be incoming. And, well, we'll see.
We we joked.
Windex. Yeah.
I know we joked about silver coins, but like,
yeah.
I mean, there's a little more innovative than silver coins.
That's
or
kinda cool.
Gold coins, I guess.
that's pretty wicked awesome. I gotta say, that is pretty sweet.
So you're an animator. You get today's brief for what you're working on. It's like, oh, spray bottles.
Spray bottles.
Okay.
I wonder if they did a little mocap kind of or a reference footage for that.
Oh, I bet they did do a reference for the spray bottles.
Yeah. I don't know what the telesnaps look like for that, but I'm assuming they basically saw that effect and said, let's do the same thing, because Morseberry directed Tomb of the Cybermen too.
Does his hair get smaller when they take these things off? Because that's some big hair.
A little bit.
Not this guy, the other guy.
That guy's just got a big head.
Yeah. What about those? Just let them go. They're too far gone. they're just like Borg. Kill them now. Basically, if you're a new series, if you're Star Trek Picard, just kill them. Just kill them. But we could say nope. Seven and I just said we should kill them. Okay. All right, let's kill things now in Star Trek. That's what we do.
To quote Riker from The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1, fire. One of the greatest cliffhangers of all time.
That's true. Yeah, even at the time, I wasn't that much of a Star Trek fan. I was still like resentful of it, but even I tuned in for that. Says, "Oh my god!"
I remember watching that and going, "I got to wait 3 months to find out what happens."
3 months,
come
my
on.
god!
And that was nothing. Now we just wait 2 years. But
yeah, and it's just like, all right, I've binged 18 other series a day, basically leading up to. Oh, that's back. Okay, let's watch it. I guess. Oh, I have to rewatch all of season 3 to remember what's going to happen in season 4.
But that's when it gets good.
Yeah.
Although I was telling a friend, they're like, should I watch TNG? I'm like, well, the first 2 seasons kind of suck, but after it gets really the third, I'm like, oh, damn it, I've become what I've been.
You become that.
But it's true. It is true.
But at the time when you watched it, you didn't know that.
No, but the first 2 seasons of most treks are pretty ropey, with the exception of TOS, where it goes the opposite direction. The third season is a ropey one.
I was going to say no, but it gets really good in the third season, from what I've led to believe.
No,
right,
it does
Lauren?
not. No, the first 2 seasons are great. The third season, not so much.
There's a reason there wasn't a 4th season, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Star Trek Contemporary here. First season was airing at this time, although it hadn't premiered in the UK until after. It was basically a fill-in. The fill-in series after the War Games was Star Trek after in 1969. So anything you see of like, Doctor Who ripped off Star Trek there. Well, no, it didn't. Like Vulcan, for instance, Power of the Daleks. Like
that predates, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think it just barely predates it, but certainly, in the public.
But there's no way that one group of people would have had any any knowledge about the other.
No, it's not like Gene Roddenberry and whoever and Dr.
Sidney
Who.
Newman were trading.
Yeah, we're talking notes,
emails, not emails, obviously, but.
Telegrams.
Telegrams. Dear Roddenberry, stop.
I don't remember telegrams being around when I was a kid, but they must have been. They must have still been barely been a thing.
I think there were still jokes, the basis of jokes at weddings, as I recall then, but I think even then they were long gone.
Like the 60s are kind of the glory days, or the 50s and 60s are probably the glory days.
There's enough stuff that I'm sure we would have watched as youngsters that had, somebody reading off a telegram. That's how I know they exist, or how I learned they existed.
Quite the same thing, but it is 60s related. There's I think it's 7 Days November. It's about the Kennedy assassination. It's by the same guy that wrote the Helter Skelter, and it's just this detailed, here's what happened in these 7 days. And one of the best parts of it, best in quotes, is this UPI reporter goes and files the first story, and he takes his own sweet time because there's a guy behind him, and he's like, I'm going to scoop this jerk. And he just goes, and I just read that, and I was like, mwah, 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 beautiful. That is some fine reporter subterfuge right there.
They're whipping acetone at people. Oh my God.
Oh dear.
It's like David Banks and 5 Doctor Syndrome there.
That's like The Trip starring Jack Nicholson.
What? The Trip starring Jack Nicholson.
That's a Roger Corman film.
Oh, okay. I was thinking not the Steve Coogan, Rob Brydon thing.
No. This is from 60 whatever, and it's before Jack Nicholson was a big deal.
Is that before
Easy Rider
after they did
even,
Little Shop of Horrors?
Probably after. The thing I remember
after Little Shop was 1960. That and there were no
this is 67, 68. They're all like
61,
drugged out hippies, and there's a whole scene where they're just putting strings up and they're supposedly high. But my favorite part is the guy has a bad trip.
Of course they were high. It was 1967.
But yeah, but they're projecting that on the screen, right? My favorite part of the whole thing is when the guy has a bad trip, and so they just show 3 zombies with hippie garb, and I'm like, God, you just had that lying around. Come on.
Well, I want to say that maybe in episode 4, maybe we already saw it in part 2. There is some that projection kind of effects that you would see like at early Pink Floyd concerts and Great Grateful Dead. I want to say that is sort of used as lighting effect in these episodes. It's 1967, which is hilarious. They thought, man, this is so trippy. Let's use this, man. Although I'm not sure. The production teams of Doctor Who ever sounded like, man.
British
let's
TV
totally
generally
use that.
wasn't all that trippy, was it? It was a little stuffy, I think.
I would say,
comparatively speaking.
I think filmmaking in America got the drugs. TV in Britain was still very much on the alcohol, very much gin fueled at this point. I'm pretty. Ask Peter Bryant in 3 years' time when he's
there's a great line in Scandal, the 80s film, where John Hurt is trying, whoever's character is trying pot, and at the end of it he's like, oh no, I'd rather have had a bourbon.
John Perfumo, isn't he? Isn't that Perfumo?
No, he doesn't play Perfumo. In fact, I believe Ian McKellen plays Perfumo.
I've never seen. It's very difficult to find that movie now. So it's.
I know, it's a great film. Yeah, it's really good.
It was Joanna Wally.
Which
Kilmer,
one's right?
Scandal.
Joanna
Wally Kilmer,
1989.
Ian McKellen's in it. John Hurt. There's a few other people who are a big deal. The guy from the Fine Young Cannibals is in it.
He is, isn't he? That's right. The lead singer of Fine Young Cannibals. Yeah. Why do I know that? I barely remember seeing.
Well, I saw it in the theater way back in the day.
Well, of course you would.
Yes,
probably
what
double
a jerk
bill
I am for seeing films.
Probably a double bill with Tim Burton's Batman or something like that.
It was not. It came out in 87, I think.
I was 89. I was 89. I think.
Well, it wasn't a double bill with anything.
Oh, well, I'm kidding, of course, but it did come around at the same time. Mind you, there's a cliffhanger coming up here with a bunch of Cybermen.
Okay, yeah, this is pretty cool, I gotta say.
Slightly more. We'll see it. We'll see this in actual film at the reprise of part 4 here.
And speaking of the 80s, when he spreads his arms like that, I'm like, go west, da, 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 da.
Ian Cuthbertson is in Scandal, and that is amazing. Ian Cuthbertson, of course, was Garen in the Rebus operation, so he shows up everywhere.
Who is he in Scandal? What's his name in that?
He played Lord Hailsham. Lord Hailsham.
No. Okay.
I'm just reading the cast, so I haven't seen the movie, obviously. So
I might have to fire up the old VPN to see if I can find that bad boy.
The VPN. Well, yeah, I don't know where it is. Don't know where. Anyway, we just talked over.
We did talk about the 60s, so that's
I know, but
close.
Space Adventure number with the music being played there is the traditional Cyberman theme, also used, of course, the Memory Cheats theme several decades later. But anyway, that's the end of the animated episodes at the very least. We get to see all these people that we barely paid attention to. Hope you enjoyed that.
Well.
Yeah, Victor Pemberton.
Scientists, who cares? Cybermen, slightly less, who cares?
Yeah. Peter Hawkins, of course, did all the voices for the Daleks at one point. He's pretty much into me. He's basically the Nick Briggs of season 4. I think he did all the voices for the Daleks in both Power and Evil, and now he's doing all the voices for Cybermen here too. Possibly. We're not done with the credits yet, but anyway.
It's like Frank Welker, who does everything.
Oh, yeah.
Is he still around? He's got to be retired by now.
Probably still working, but he's still alive for sure.
Frank Welker.
Yeah, if you had a... talk like this. It was basically Frank Welker.
He was born in 46, so that's honestly only 78 at time of recording. That's kind of nothing. Like, given that he's probably been
for a voice actor, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing voices since he was like 10. Anyway, Frank Welker does not appear in Doctor Who. Certainly not in episode 3, or indeed episode 4, which we'll be talking about next time on our classic series commentary as we round out the Moonbase. So join us next time, won't you? Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.